we go. The breakdown, the prediction, the crystal ball. Will it continue to be correct? Or will I get this one wrong? Before we get into the breakdown, hit the thumbs up, sub, notification bell. That way you get updated when I drop the newest content like this. With that being said, let's get into the video. So it was very hard for me to hear their weights. It sounded like Porter came in at 146.6 and Crawford came in at 146.4. But on the top ranked stream, it was very difficult to make out what they were saying. So y'all can correct me where I'm wrong, if I am wrong. With that being said, let's get into the fight. So we all know how Porter fights. He comes straight at you, applies pressure, stays close, and a lot of times it's not to his benefit because he smothers a lot of his shots, meaning he doesn't get full extension, and he causes his own shots not to really hurt as bad as they could. Instead of keeping a small gap to where you're inside who your opponent is, their distance, but they're at the end of your punch still. He doesn't do that. He makes it to where both guys are inside. So he loses a lot of what could be good power by that. Also, he's more of a I get in there, stand there inside of the pocket style fighter. Decent at blocking, but when you see him fight in the pocket, it's not like a bob and weave side to side at the hips like a Mike Tyson, which would help him a lot against a guy like Bud Crawford, but he doesn't fight like that. It would give him opportunity to set up counter punches. Now, so with that being said, we know what Porter's going to do. We have only, to my knowledge, to my memory that I can remember, seen him fight on the back foot one time. That was against Ugas, and people debate who actually won that fight. I thought Porter won it, but other people say Ugas won it. But he did actually change up his style, fight more on the back foot in that fight. However, that's not the norm. And after that, we really haven't seen him go back to that. He's never really reverted to the outside. He just reverted back to being inside up close for the fights. So I suppose that's what he's going to do for this fight. So really, truthfully, being that we know what Porter's going to do, it is what is Bud going to do to mitigate this pressure? Well, here's the deal. I heard in his sparring camp that he was letting people put him against the ropes and he was training off the ropes. Now that's good. Why is that good? Because when you have a guy who stays up on top of you, you can actually use the ropes to give you leverage whenever you're leaning across them. You can actually, normally in boxing, you don't want to do it. You don't want to square your hips because you make yourself a wider target. But when you're against the ropes, you can actually square off a little more, lean back against the ropes to get more body lean backwards away from their punches so that you're getting more torque when you're coming off the ropes, swinging at them, trying to counter punch. So I like the fact that he is training off the ropes in case Porter just pressures and he can't get away. He's using the ropes as a way to create space, leverage. However, I don't think that he's going to need to be super reliant on those ropes. What I think is really going to start to get to Porter is little half steps back. I think Crawford does it very well. People don't really see it, but when people press him, he's very good at little half step backwards to where he can slip uppercuts in there or he can dip and throw hooks. Very good at half step back. And when you're fighting a shorter guy, especially when he smothers his own work like Porter does, them little half step backs is the key to victory, in my opinion. And I foresee that is what he is going to use. Like I said, just watch his feet. He's not going to take a full step back. It's going to be a subtle little half step, real quick. Whoop, bow. Throw the counter shot. Throw the uppercut. Also, look for him to fight probably when there is distance. I would imagine that he is going to use the southpaw stance more often, being that he is right-handed dominant. So when you have a guy who applies a lot of pressure, if you can switch hit like he can, it is best to put your power hand forward. So that way, as the shorter guy is coming forward, you're hitting him with the jab, and every jab is a power shot instead of a setup shot. So I foresee that, but I also see the transitioning from him being in the southpaw to traditional when he cannot get away from Porter to do the half step back. So that way he is loading with that power on that back leg. So I think when they're in close, tight quarters, you will look for that transition in Bud's feet to go traditional. And when they have distance, I think he's going to put that right leg forward, go southpaw to try to really stick out that power jab in Porter's face. Now, body attack. Do I see Bud doing a lot of body attack in this fight? Not a lot, but I do see it being as a useful tool to bait hands down to try to get off shots. But I think his main focus here, especially with a guy who charges forward with his head as much as he does, is going to be head hunting. Now, normally I don't like guys to head hunt. I think you should go to the body, set up stuff, etc. But with a guy like Porter, how he fights, it's not really a bad idea to head hunt. And I'm not saying that Crawford won't throw anybody. He will. But I think in this particular fight, his body work is going to be less than what it normally would be against another opponent who doesn't get right up on you. So, again, my keys is look when there's space. He's going to go right foot forward, southpaw, stance, left hand back, or left foot back. Jab with the power. Whenever Porter closes the gap, which he will close the gap quite a bit and stay on top of Bud. Look for him to transition over to traditional style and then set up the little half step back uppercuts, half step back hooks. And I can see him throwing some straights whenever you see Porter start to open up and get wild with his hooks when he's real close. I can definitely see that, but I'm more or less looking for little short hooks and short uppercuts as Porter first closes that gap, or he starts swinging at him with that little whoop, back, boom, hit him. And the reason why I'm talking more about Bud than I am Porter is because my prediction is I believe Bud Crawford is going to be the first guy to finish Porter. And what I mean by that is not finish his career, because Porter is a good fighter, but I think he's going to knock him out. I don't see this going the distance. And for this particular fight, it's very hard for me to say what round, because Porter has proven to be durable. He's proven to have a decent chin. He has been dropped before, and I'm going to get into the main reason why I think he gets knocked out. When he has been dropped, it's been off of single shots. Adrian Broner got him. Errol Spence Jr. got him. Those were single shots. The problem with Crawford is, if you're a Porter, the problem is Bud doesn't throw single shots. He'll hit you accumulatively, and they're all hard back to back. So I see the knockdowns. If they happen to him, they're going to be a lot more damaging than when he just got caught and got knocked down, whether he was off balance or didn't see it coming. These knockdowns are going to be much more damaging when and if they happen, and I believe they will. Thus, I have Bud winning by knockout. Now, I've already seen a narrative where people are trying to say, well, the same people that said Bud has never fought nobody, now they're starting, as the fight gets closer and closer, they're starting to say that Porter really isn't anybody. The excuses are already coming. Well, here's the fact of the matter. Porter fought a very close fight with Errol Spence Jr. Very close. Very close. So you can't say he's not a somebody. Some people said Porter won. I did not. I said EJ won that fight. I said I had 6 rounds to 6 rounds. However, EJ, Errol Spence Jr., here's the thing. He had a knockdown. So one of those 6 rounds he won was a 10-8 round, which means he won the fight. Even if the rounds were a draw, the points weren't because he got a knockdown. So I gave the fight to Errol Spence Jr. on my scorecard. And the thing about it is this. The last thing I want to say is this. Even though I am saying that I believe Terence Crawford will knock out Shawn Porter, is going to knock out Shawn Porter, I do not believe that this is going to be any indication of how the Errol Spence Jr. fight goes. I don't know if Errol Spence is 100% or if he's got injuries that are internal that he doesn't know about, kind of like whenever he went into the Manny Pacquiao fight, detached retina from the car accident. There may be more stuff wrong with him that he doesn't know about, we don't know about it, etc. So assuming that there's nothing wrong with him and he's 100% healthy, if he got into the ring with Crawford, no matter how Crawford wins this fight, it has no indication on how that fight will go because Spence is much taller He's much longer. He fights completely different, and he's a lot heavier and stronger than Porter. So completely different style fight. So this doesn't tell you which one's better than the other one by performances. It's just styles make fight. And I think Porter's style is bad for a guy who can throw very good counterpunches and chains combos together like Bud Crawford does, especially when the shorter guy in Porter smothers his work, is not going to be getting off the same type of power that Bud is going to be getting off with. So, again, that's how it goes. And to come back to what I was going to say before I went on the tangent, I don't know if this is going to be an early or late stoppage, because the type of blows he's going to be taking, Porter, this is going to be different than anything he's experienced. It's because of how many are going to be hitting him when they hit him. It's going to be completely different, something his chin has not been tested with. Now, judging off of what we've seen, I would say that I think this is going to be a late stoppage. However, again, I don't know how he's going to hold up to the constant pressure of attacks that he's going to put himself in. Because when the fight gets close, it's not like Bud's going to slack up. He's going to go at him. So, again, it's very hard to say how durable he's going to be in this fight, because he's got a good chin. And at the same time, we've never seen him get hit by a guy that hits like Bud consecutively with punches. So I think he will go late into the fight before it gets stopped. I could see a world where it could be a corner stoppage or a referee stoppage due to Bud just putting too much punishment on him and not actually sleeping him. But at the same time, I could see where he could get slept. The bottom line is, whether it's a stoppage or he gets slept, I think he gets knocked out, because all those are the same. Whether the referee steps in and gives him a TKO, whether the towel comes in and it's a corner stoppage, it still counts as a knockout on your record. So at the end of the day, I believe he wins by knockout. And that's just how I see the fight going. So let me know what y'all think in the comments section. I've got Terence Crawford winning by knockout. Not quite sure what round it will happen in, just because Porter, from what I have seen, is tough. But with his come forward style, I could see a world where it doesn't go that late into the fight. So again, let me know what y'all think. Do y'all agree, disagree? Is Porter going to beat him? Is Porter going to be the real test to show that, Bud, you're too small for welterweight? This is what it's like at the elite level. Or is Bud going to outshine him and show why he is arguably number one pound for pound when compared to Canelo by his technical ability and skills? Again, let me know what y'all think.